As Marco said, I have the pleasure of running sales, technical solutions and business development at BT for the BT Radianz team. I thought I'd kick off this morning just having a look at some of the main highlights from yesterday. You know, I think Robert spoke about, as the chairman's opening address yesterday, about the fact that there were 50 different countries represented here at World Exchange Congress. And I think that's a marvellous advocacy of both this conference and the fact that people really want to start talking about exchanges, talking about international trade, talking about growth, promoting liquidity. So I think that was a really good takeaway from Robert yesterday. Scanning the news wires, what was picked up in the international press from World Exchange Congress yesterday? Well, it was Seth Merrin, who's the CEO of Liquidnet, and all of his quotes about advising exchange leaders to look for new alternatives over exchange consolidation and to compete in other types of offerings, you know, in terms of selling different things to their client base. That was picked up by the international press yesterday on the back of the World Exchange Congress, and that was obviously the one key takeaway that people liked. The other thing that was picked up by the press was John Knuff of Equinix. He spoke about latency ecosystems. But the other advice that John had for everybody yesterday was very much about not getting hung up on latency to the exclusion of everything else. And he talked about building with headroom, building so that you've got growth. If you need to add on asset classes, making sure your technology supports alternates, making sure that your technology supports headroom. The other thing that seems to have been picked up on the day yesterday was very much around the integration of hardware and software, not just as individual components, but very much as a coming together. So I think yesterday was quite an exciting day, both in the technology streams, in the commodity derivative streams, and in the main Congress streams. And those are the things that seem to have been picked up both by the international press and by the many delegates. Today, particularly in this technology stream, we're going to be looking at diversification and regulation, particularly around asset classes. We're going to be looking at mobile services. What does mobile really mean? We're going to be looking at hack attacks. And again, what has been really attacked? And looking at the fundamentals of that and looking about how we can solve that or what solutions there are for exchanges around that. We're going to look around clearing and settlement, and last but not least, we're going to be looking at market data. And so we'll finish off with that big data explosion that people are talking about. So that's what we've got planned for today. But before we do that, I thought it was just worth having a look at a couple of key quotes around the technology industry and see if there's anything that we can take away from that and perhaps use in our technology day to day. I think one of the things that I've heard from people is that they'd like to make this session really about technology, really about solutions. And so I'm going to try and drive that as your chairperson for the day. Now, Steve Jobs, as we all know, founder of Apple, one of his most famous quotes was that real artists ship. Real artists ship. What does he mean by that? Well, what he meant was that, you know, technological innovations that really, really matter are the ones that actually appear in products that consumers can really buy. It's not just about fluffy, conceptualized ideas. You know, and I think that's quite important for us as an industry, and particularly an industry who provides solutions or needs solutions. And I think today, during our conference, it would be really, really good to talk about, you know, things, products that people can really buy, products that people are really using today, so that when we talk through all the different panelists, it would be great to really keep an eye on that. You know, innovations that matter are the ones that appear in products. It really, really resonates with me, particularly wearing my Radianz hat. We spend a lot of time working on, you know, product solutions that are really, really valuable. In our testing plants, we look at all sorts of things from, you know, interconnecting fiber of data exchanges to microwave to all sorts of new technologies. But it's always about things that we can actually deliver. So real artist ships. Keep that in mind for later on today. The other quote, and whether it's true or not, because apparently he's denying it now, so we'll have to see. But apparently Bill somebody, a famous Bill, we'll leave it like that, since denied, said that 640K should be enough for anybody. You know, and I think that one of the things about that and that quote, it just shows you that our industry is constantly misjudging the shelf lives of technology. So again, I think when we have our debate and our discussion today, you know, let's think about longevity, not only about being a product that people can really consume, but also about what is the shelf life of that. Has it got longevity? We're in difficult times at the moment. People need, you know, their money to go that little bit further. It doesn't matter about whether it's you or I with our own money, but it's exchanges, it's investment banks, it's everybody. Everybody needs the money to go that little bit further. So let's talk about the technology and make sure that the shelf life of that technology that we're talking about is able to go that little bit further. So, you know, and I think that the sort of caveat on that was that, you know, apparently it was, you know, surprised at how quickly 640K RAM proved to be an inadequate amount of memory. And I think that will resonate particularly when we start talking about big data later on in the session today, because just looking at the explosion in data growth, looking at the amount of bandwidth, the amount of technology that's required to process, to deliver all of that new data that's coming down. So we'll be talking a little bit about that later on, so that might be able to resonate with people. I wouldn't be wearing purple for no reason. I do work at BT. Not everybody knows BT. BT does stand for British Telecom. You know, we are the largest telecoms organisation. We've got 100,000 employees. We're based in 170 countries on a worldwide basis. BT Radianz, the organisation that I work for, sits within the Global Services division, and we provide secure, managed connectivity to the whole financial community. We have more than 15,000 customers on a worldwide basis, and we've got more than 700 application providers. Hopefully, you've seen the purple stand in the auditorium. I've got the purple jacket on. Come and see us, and if there's anything that we can do, I'm more than happy to talk to you.